Hey, what's up ladies and gentlemen, it is I am the one and only Silver the Hedgehog here, and I am from the likes of the Maxi Toys videos, of course. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Kirby Superstar Ultra for the Nintendo DS. Also known in the forms of Japan, this game is actually called Kirby of the Stars. Ultra Super Deluxe, which makes it a little bit obvious because either way though, yeah, I'll explain more about it until then. So last time we have basically just went through the true arena, and overall, we did have a really good run on this, despite the forms of some technical difficulties here and there, but at least that's how it usually goes. So today, this will be the final video in terms of Kirby Superstar Ultra, and because of that, we're going to be now tackling through the forms of the rest of the sub-games. Originally, I was going to be able to go through multiple playthroughs of Helper the Hero on my own time, but sadly, it's not going to happen. I directly changed my mind about that specific stuff, which I'll probably talk more about it as soon as we get into the forms of the actual rest of the sub-games. So, in this case, we're going to be going through the nostalgic sub-games first. So those nostalgic mini-games, or sub-games for that matter, are back, ready for you to play here. You can play with one button, and that is of course the A button. So, in this case, much like the original Super Nintendo version of Kirby Superstar, that you're able to actually going to be playing through Megaton Punch, as well as Samurai Kirby. And of course, the first one we're going to show off is, of course, Megaton Punch. And if you couldn't tell from the visual standpoint, the visuals looked very identical to the forms of how it does on the Super Nintendo counterparts. Except the fact that biggest noticeable difference now, that, obviously the main gameplay was obviously on the top screen, and there was nothing in the bottom screen aside from the actual sub-game's name. So, yeah, there's nothing really much to say about this for the most part. And also, you should notice that Bodo was actually now in this. So, in this case, it felt remarkably similar to the Super Nintendo counterpart, but on the Nintendo DS platform. So, as a result, yeah, it's actually pretty fun still, and I'm very glad that this minigame definitely makes a comeback on the forms of the actual remake of Kirby Superstar. Even though it doesn't have any updated visuals or anything like that, because it's more accurately exactly the same game as in the forms of how it does on the Super Nintendo version, which also same applies to Samurai Kirby, which we'll get to that in a moment. But I will try my best if I was able to do all three difficulties in this particular sub-game, including buddy forms of any other sub-games for that matter too. So it looks like for the most part I'm doing quite well actually, even though despite the fact that I'm going to be only pressing the Z button on my keyboard controls, despite the fact that I'm playing this on the emulator. But on the actual DS hardware is that obviously you just pressing the A button, that's all you have to really think about. So, obviously you know suggest about the fact that what the difficulty level starts to come in. Level 1 is basically the easy mode, level 2 is considered to be the normal mode, and level 3 is considered to be the hard mode. So, yeah, that probably explains about the fact that why I'm gonna be trying my best to able to... Oh, this is actually really good. And can I even... Oh, that's way top notch. In fact, I actually managed to break through the half portion of Popstar. Wow, that's actually kind of impressive actually. So now it's going to face off against with the final foe, even though I'm pretty dang sure my timing is a bit off. So in this case, I somehow lose by 7, well, empty left. So, oh well, no big deal. But at least I did pretty well though in terms of Megaton Punch. Now let's move on to the forms of Samurai Kirby, which again, similar to the forms of the Super Nintendo counterparts, we have to basically just press one button only, and except the fact that you can able to press any button in immediately, while the forms of when you see that exclamation mark shown up. Honestly, I'm not very good at Samurai Kirby, I have to be honest here. Although, kind of thinking about it though, it feels remarkably similar to that, let's just say a gun or quick draw sub-game in Kirby's Adventure on the NES, whilst the forms of Nightmare and Dreamland that basically some of these sub-games have been replaced, so into somewhat new, so... But then again, I'll try my best if I was able to try to go ahead and, well, just do that. And again, I'm actually going to be blaming on the keyboard controls because that makes it incredibly hard for me to able to do precise timing or what have you. Yeah, I just lost. And the final opponent is obviously Mennonite, and of course Mennonite will be the hardest opponent ever, so in this case we'll just go for that. Alright. Alright, there it goes. And now we have to deal with the wheelie here. And of course, much like the forms of Megaton Punch, basically the visuals is pretty much unchanged compared to the Super Nintendo version, so yeah, which I honestly don't mind about it at all. Ah, drat, I was too slow. In fact, players on the emulator will be a lot more harder than the actual DS hardware. Well, at least in terms of the original cartridge for it. Alright, so... oh, this gets pretty tricky now. Oh, that's a redo, but that's fine. If it does say redo, this means that, well, we're gonna have to try this again. Alright, at least I got that Waddle Doo out. So, in this case, oh goodness gracious, he will be a little bit tricky to be able to, well, try to get past him. Hopefully I should get it. Nope. Oh, I was too late. In fact, Wheelie did manage to able to catch me in time. Oh well, but that's Samurai Kirby. I'm not very good at that particular sub-game, I have to be honest. But either way though, now let's move on to the new sub-games that is only exclusive to the DS remake. So compete in 3 simple but deep sub-games. Everything is touch controls. So in this case, the first one we have is Kirby Card Swipe. So basically we have to touch the same card on the touchscreen and then choose the card on the top screen as what it's shown, and basically it's kind of similar to Samurai Kirby, but in a card game formation. Ah, the green Kirby just got it first. And again, much like the forms of Kirby Mouse Attack, this is all touchscreen controls. But honestly, I'm going to admit though, I actually really enjoyed those sub-games in Kirby Superstar Ultra more than the forms of how it does it in Kirby Mouse Attack. Well, usually because of the fact that usually in Mouse Attack or Squeak Squad, for those of you who lived in America, basically it does manage to able to release it on the 2006, and most of these DS touchscreen controls, it might be in the early days or something. I don't know. Maybe I just get confused by that point, so... well, at least I got this one. And I believe in order to able to win this entire, you know, Kirby card swipe, is you have to collect, like, 3 cards first, and then you would able to win. Ah, drat. I think me and Yellow Kirby were getting pretty close. So hopefully I might as well get this one. Is it... oh! Ah, dang it. At least Red Kirby now got the first card. Oh boy, this gets pretty intense though. Especially noticeable when we get into level 3, then it should be something else. Ooh! Got him! But yeah, you need to like get 3 points in order to win the actual sub-game, so... but I think, to me though, I think the biggest highlight for me though, it was actually the card sweep kind of sub-game, because again, it's somewhat similar to Samurai Kirby, but again, it's all touchscreen controls this time, as opposed to, you know, just buttons. And what's great about these sub-games, the newer sub-games, as a matter of fact, is that those sub-games were actually unlocked from the start. So you don't have to worry about just trying to go ahead and, well, just trying to go ahead and just trying to unlock everything. Unlike, you know, Megaton Punch as well as Samurai Kirby, that you do need to unlock them. So, in this case, if you want to get Megaton Punch, you have to complete the arena. and then if you want to get Samurai Kirby, then you have to play through, you know, Meta Nightmare Ultra. So, just want to point things out for that specific suggestions. So, yeah, that's as far as I can usually try to discuss upon for this point. Obviously, today's day is, of course, the, oh, what day is it today? I totally forgot, even though it has been a while since I actually looked upon certain things. Oh yeah, the 6th of May today, in this case in 2021. So in this case, we're actually getting pretty close towards summer, so even then though, hopefully that summer will be a lot better than this year than the forms of how it does on last year was, because either way though, I'm sure most of the people already know about this for this fact, so... Anyway, so... Oh! At least I got that bomber here. And Green Kirby doesn't get any cards at all. So, yeah, it looks like me and Red Kirby were actually pretty close. So, alright, now on to the level 3. It does have some buttons here of references, but he forms the past Kirby's Adventures. Specifically, Paint Roller from the likes of Kirby's Adventure. And there's also going to be, what else does it contain in here? Although, we'll point it out. Oh yeah, there's a code from the likes of, well, Kirby's Dream Land 2. So yeah, that's pretty awesome for that reference. And let's see what else is around here for referencing something. Well, not much in here. Well, aside from the fact that we see wispy words, but either way though, the game randomly trying to tell us what cards we're going to be able to choose from. Oh look, there's that Nightmare Wizard from the forms of how it does it in Kirby's Adventure. And also, I don't know what that guy's name is though, like, even then, I do know that that paint-looking boss was actually from, Kirby Canvas Curse. And oh look, we have ourselves Dark Matter from ever since in, well, Kirby's Dream Land 2. But, hey, at least that's pretty cool to be able to see those references from the Kirby's past. Which is pretty awesome, actually. So yeah, that was the forms of Kirby Card Swipe, and now let's move on to Kirby on the Draw. So, tap targets as they appear. To reload, tap the bar on the bottom, and watch out for bombs, because if you touch the bombs, then you go subtract points. And, unfortunately though, if you couldn't tell from the forms of the actual screen capture footage, I'm gonna blame on the emulator for this, because either way though, it's incredibly awkward to able to use, you know, a mouse in order to able to actually click on something, like, especially on laptop's case. So, all you have to really do in this particular sub-game is the fact that you have to shoot down as many of those cardboard enemies as you can, and if you manage to able to get enough points from it, then you would able to actually be in the top lead. So, but honestly, I don't think I can probably be good at this. So, even then, I do apologize for the lack of skills of this minigame. Or the sub-game for that matter, because I'm gonna blame on the, how the setup is usually gonna work out to be, especially noticeable this is on, you know, the emulator of all things. So, I kinda just wish I was want to do this a little bit faster, but I think, to me, play this on the forms of the original DS hardware, or the DSi hardware handhelds, because that way you can able to get really fast reflexes if you really want to win this kind of games like this. So, but yeah, honestly, it's the fact that, or obviously I should say, is that in order to able to win the game is that you have to get most points, and that's all you really have to do about this specific sub-game, so... But as you can see, some of these computer players are actually doing really good this sub-game, mainly with the forms of Red Kirby specifically. But usually much like the forms of how it does it on the previous Kirby games, is that once again you can able to play as up to like, well, I would say 4 players or something like that, if only for the sub-games or something like that. But I know it has been quite a few years since I actually did last touch upon Kirby Superstar Ultra. Nonetheless though, it's the fact that because I'm used to with playing the future games in the series, like most notably Triple Deluxe and you name the rest. So yeah, that's how it goes basically. So and obviously you need to watch out for those bombs, because if you touch the bomb, then you obviously lose points. So you just have to be very careful. So, and it looks like I'm in 4th place. So yeah, it's a bit of an awkward setup for able to play this sub-game. So I must admit though, I did try, but either way though, I'm just showing you guys just to see if how some of these sub-games actually plays out. Even though it might be fairly similar setup as the forms of how it does it in, well, let's just say in Kirby Mouse Attack or something. Well, usually I don't know exactly for sure for that. Well, usually I just use the top screen portion for the majority of the Let's Play of the game. So, but as a result though, that's the only thing I must suggest. So, anyways, let's go ahead and keep on shooting those targets. So just in case we can able to just, well, rank up some more points if possible. But either way though, it's just not as easy as it sounds in my eyes. But even then though, that's as far as I can usually say in terms of the forms of, you know, Kirby on the draw. So either way though, that's not much else to talk about. Oh yeah, let's get into the forms of why I'm probably gonna able to not do, well, I did change my mind about the forms of trying to able to go through, 18 other playthroughs of, well, specifically Helper the Hero mode, and why I'm not doing it, anymore. It's because it's quite tedious, and plus because of this though, actually I'll get into more about it until whenever we get on to the last sub-game in this game, which is Snack Tracks. And beware of bombs on your track, and tap rocks and bugs to get rid of them, and then tap the rocks twice. So either way though, all you have to do is basically just eat up the insane amount of food as you could, but here's the catch: you have to watch out for not to get eaten by those bugs, and especially those bombs. Even then, it does remind me of a similar kind of game, as in the forms of how it does it on, well, it's kind of hard to remember what's the similar minigame to this though, but either way though, enough about that. So, oh yeah, every once in a while though, it's the fact that as soon as we get to the forms of 30 seconds mark, the actual tracks will be changed up slightly. So in this case, I'm now on the left side, or the far left side of the screen. So, but either way though, that's honestly what I'm gonna usually try to say about this for the most part. So, I don't know if I was able to try to catch up to first place, but I'll give it a try. But either way though, it's just a bit of an awkward setup when it comes to touchscreen controls and all that stuff. But either way, oh, can I even make it for this point? Oh, Jesus Louise. And it looks like I did manage to win. So yeah, I found this one to be quite fun too. Even though the only trickiest part about this is that you have to be super accurate with all these fast reflexes to able to, you know, get rid of the bomb or get rid of the bug, and eventually the actual conveyor belts can able to actually go ridiculously fast if the actual game decides to progress. So yeah, that's what I'm honestly trying to say. So anyway, because the reason why I'm probably not going to be going through 18 other playthroughs of Helper the Hero mode on my own time, because I decided to change my mind. Because aside from the fact that you can able to play as different helpers and all that stuff, but honestly, it just feels kind of repetitive to me though for able to do this off screen. Especially it doesn't help about the fact that you're going to be fighting the exact same bosses over and over and over again. And it's just the fact that I just don't feel like trying to go for that stuff. And although it's nothing bad or anything when it comes to dealing with Helper the Hero mode, like specifically the actual game itself, I actually do like that idea. But it's just pretty terrible to commentate on, because as far as I'm aware, not much else to talk about for the sake of the forms of if I was gonna do like multiple repeated playthroughs of you know, Helper the Hero mode and stuff like that. But at least in this case, it's the fact that sometimes that if I was gonna able to try to go ahead and try to finish up the forms of 100% completion, although there's actually a special reward if you do get if you do completed all 20 helpers in specifically Helper the Hero mode, and that will have to be by the forms of a secret cutscene, which as you probably already know, ever since in Tuesday, that we actually seem to be missing one movie left, and that's what appears to be by the forms of technically movie number 0. Which, by all means, by that, well, what does that mean exactly? Well, we'll point things out whenever we get into the forms of the last final extra thing for Kirby Superstar Ultra before we finish up the entire Let's Play of this game. So, yeah, that's as far as I can say for this point, guys. In terms of sub-games in general, they're fine. I mean, usually the biggest highlight for me, though, is of course, well, let's say, quick card swipe, and also, you know, snack tracks, which this sub-game is actually pretty cool, even though it does get pretty intense, though, especially in level 3, and as a result, I lost, so, yeah, I'm still blaming on this awkward setup. But either way, though, that's the only thing I can show off. But hey, at least it's pretty cool to see those sub-games. And also, you notice on the actual around the borders, it's actually now golden as opposed to brown. What this means is the fact that when your border is now golden, this means you've 100% everything. So, but even then, I was one of pointing out for the actual visual changes here and there. So, either way, though, and also the music is actually changed up a bit slightly, so... yeah, if you complete all 20 playthroughs in Help in the Hero mode, you will unlock the secret movie, which actually represents the forms of a nostalgic cutscene based off from the Super Nintendo version of, well, Kirby Superstar, which meaning is actually by the forms of original Kirby movies. Now I will say, it does look pretty cool to be able to actually see those scenes again. But, obviously the biggest difference is between the original Super Nintendo counterparts than the forms of how it does in this particular remake is that, as you can see, the actual cinematic screen did actually shows up on the top screen, and then on the title screen portions, it's actually showed up on the bottom screen. So, yeah, that seems pretty cool though, especially noticeable because... either way though, as I said this before, this is essentially a remake of the original Kirby Superstar, so this means they are able to include the original stuff here now too. And it also does that tradition as well, such as for instance with Mega Man Powered Up for the PSP, and all the other jazz, so but either way though, yeah, it seems pretty cool to see the original Super Nintendo movies, but on the handheld, which is pretty awesome actually. So, obviously, the actual visuals themselves is based off from the Super Nintendo version, so, yeah, that seems pretty awesome, so... but yeah, that's as far as I can say in terms of the extra things of how Kirby Superstar Ultra, as far as this particular remake is concerned. Overall, I think this is actually a really impressive, remake, compared to the forms of the original counterparts. Although, usually, relatively speaking, is the fact that, honestly, there was something about this particular remake I do love compared to the forms of how it does in the original counterparts. Like, for one, visuals is way more updated, and especially noticeable they're now including some FMV sequences, which is always pretty awesome. And the soundtrack is pretty great stuff as well. And the gameplay is pretty solid and, well, flawless in almost every way, actually. The story is very interesting still, just like in a Super Nintendo version. And finally, the controls is actually pretty dang flawless. Either way though, way more flawless than the forms of how it does it on the old school Kirby games. Specifically Dreamland and Kirby's Adventure in my opinion, because you don't have to worry about just trying to press the directional pad up at all times if you're trying to fly, so... yeah, but as far as usually how it usually goes in terms of my final thoughts of Kirby Superstar Ultra. You should definitely recommend getting this game, although a forewarning, I think it might actually get expensive now. Especially noticeable because of how the fact that, well, specifically the UK version of this game. If you really want to go ahead and purchase the game, well, good luck trying to getting it brand new sealed, because it is way expensive right now. But apart from those side of things though, still recommend it, and you can either try it on the emulator or just trying to get the physical copy of the game. So, and yeah, I said this before, you can also play these sub-games within 4-player modes if you want to, but that's fine. And you can also play 2-player mode on Spring Breeze as well. So if you want to do that, by all means, you can do that. So, yeah, that's as far as I can say in terms of Kirby Superstar Ultra for this point, folks. And by the way, one more... actually, there's one last thing I would like to show off, although it might not be possible, is that in the title screen sequence, basically, whenever when Kirby just managed to blink his eyes and all that stuff, you can able to actually change his emotions until whenever you go back into your regular file and exit out the forms of the file selection screen. And then you can basically change Kirby's emotions quite a lot. So, yeah, something's worth noting for its charming way. But either way though, that's as far as I can say about this. So thank you guys so much for watching of our Let's Play of Kirby Superstar Ultra. I know it's been fun for able to doing this, especially noticeable that I'm finally glad to able to do this game. Because either way though, I'm pretty impressed about that. So yeah, this is me, Silver the Hedgehog, from the likes of the Maxi Toys. And I suppose, next up, in terms of the Kirby series of Let's Plays, it could be either be Kirby Triple Deluxe, or Kirby Planet Robobot, or Kirby Star Allies. So, God knows, because either way though, I'll find out and see what happens. So I'll see you guys until soon enough. Bye.